Savannah looked at her laptop screen. She saw her husband, Carter, hugging another woman, and it was in their own bedroom, on their bed. She quickly shut the laptop and felt sick inside. She had always suspected something, but she thought it might be gambling, maybe cards or slot machines. She never expected this. She couldn't understand how she had fallen for him so quickly. But then she remembered how sweetly he had courted her, how charming he was. She gave in back then, and now her heart was breaking again. She stepped out of her hotel room and knocked on the door next to hers. Mason opened it. He leaned on the door frame and looked at her calmly. She said, "Mace, I need to go. Please, wrap things up here." Mason frowned and asked if she was planning to forgive her husband. She didn't answer directly. He reminded her that she was a strong woman. She said she didn't understand what was happening to her. Even after seeing Carter cheat, part of her still wanted to forgive him. She was confused and upset. Mason looked concerned. He asked if she was okay to drive. Savannah said she would drive around to clear her head. She didn't want to go home yet. She asked him not to call her again and again. She just needed time. So she got into her car and drove off. She didn't know where she was going. She only knew that she had to get away before she broke down and went back to Carter. She wanted to be strong and not give in to her pain. Once before she had run from love like this. That time it was because of Mason. They were young and passionate. After a big fight, Mason went to a bar and got drunk. She had gone to find him to say sorry. But when she reached the bar, he had a half-naked girl sitting on his lap. Back then, she had no car, no money. She ran away to stay with a friend of her grandmother's in a small town. A week later, she returned, stronger. She and Mason never spoke again. They didn't see each other for 10 years. In those 10 years, Mason lived his life somewhere else. He studied and worked. Meanwhile, Savannah built a toy-making company. It started small but grew fast. One day, she needed a business partner. Someone recommended a person from another city. When they met, it was Mason. He wanted to leave immediately, but she stopped him. She said too many years had passed and they were adults now. So he stayed, and they worked together. 2 years later, Savannah married Carter. Mason had been married and divorced by then. One day, while driving, lost in thought, Savannah didn't realize how far she had gone. The road turned to dirt, and her phone lost signal. She had taken too many turns at random. Now she was stuck in the middle of nowhere. The navigation app was quiet. She had no idea where she was or how to return. She tried to speak to her navigator, but it stayed silent. There was no phone signal anywhere. She laughed bitterly at herself. "Wow, I'm such a genius," she said. She looked around and saw trees everywhere. She didn't remember leaving the highway. She turned the car around, hoping to find her way back, but the road just got worse. Then she saw a light in the distance. She drove toward it and found an old house. There were more houses nearby, but the road was terrible. She wondered how people even lived here. How did they get to school or buy groceries? Just then, a light came on outside. Someone had seen her. A woman stepped out wearing an old robe. Savannah asked her where she was and how she could get a phone signal. The woman smiled kindly and said the only signal was on a faraway hill, and it worked only early in the morning. Savannah said she got lost on the roads. The woman invited her in for tea and offered to find a map. Savannah was surprised by her kindness, but followed her in. Inside, the house was poor but clean and warm. 2 children were sitting on a couch, a girl around 10 and a boy around 6. They politely said hello and went back to their book. The woman gave them permission to join the guest at the table. Savannah introduced herself, and the woman said her name was Alice. Her children were Daisy and Tyler. The tea Alice served was amazing. Savannah said she loved tea but had never tasted anything like this. Alice laughed and said she made it herself using herbs from the forest and her garden. She even gave Savannah a few small bags to take with her. Savannah was touched and said Alice had a real gift and could earn a lot in the city. While talking, Savannah noticed a portrait on the wall. It showed a man with kind eyes. She asked about him. Alice said it was her husband, Andrew, who had died 4 years ago in the city. Savannah was shocked. The man looked exactly like her husband, Carter, only younger. She remembered those names were once in Carter's passport. He had told her his house had burned down. Alice offered to let Savannah sleep on the couch. In the morning, after milking the cows, they would look at the map and help her get back. Savannah was thankful. She was exhausted and gladly accepted the offer. But that night she couldn't sleep. She kept thinking. Could her Carter really be this Andrew? Could he have faked his death and started a new life with her? She remembered how they met. She had hit him with her car. Well, slightly hit him. At the time, it looked like he jumped in front of it. She had thought she imagined it. But now everything seemed planned. He had never worked, never showed interest in having a job. Maybe he just wanted an easy life. And he left Alice and the kids behind. In the morning, Savannah got up early. Alice was already outside. The children were still asleep. Savannah made coffee and stepped into the fresh air. Everything looked beautiful in the morning light. Flowers bloomed outside the old house, and the yard was neatly kept. Alice joined her, and they started talking about life. Savannah asked about how Alice lived here and about her husband. Alice opened up. She said they were saving money to build a house. Andrew went to the city to buy building supplies and never came back. Later, she received a death certificate in the mail. Savannah said that didn't sound right. Alice said things worked differently in this forgotten place. Savannah stayed 3 more days. She helped Alice cook and played with the children. She hadn't felt this good in a long time. A plan formed in her mind. She wanted to take Alice and her children out of there. On the 4th day, she talked to Alice seriously. She told her that life could be better, but she would need to work hard. Alice should think about it. The next morning, they left together. When they reached Savannah's house, Alice was amazed by its size. Savannah told her she could earn enough with her tea to one day own a house like it. Suddenly, Carter appeared. He was shocked. Alice gasped and called him Andrew. She was in disbelief. A terrible scene followed. Savannah had to call Mason to handle the situation. Carter was thrown out of the house. After it all calmed down, Alice turned to Savannah and asked, "You knew, didn't you?" Savannah nodded. She said she had realized when she saw the portrait. That's when she knew she had to rescue Alice from that lonely life. Alice asked, "But why did you help me?" Savannah quietly said, "Because you didn't deserve that." 2 months later, the children started school in the city. Alice was glowing, more confident, more beautiful. Together, the women and Mason opened a tea house. Alice's baking skills added even more charm. The business grew quickly. Mason often looked at Savannah with warm eyes. One day, he whispered, "I've known you for so long, but you never stop surprising me." A year passed and their tea houses became successful. Alice found love again with a friend of Mason's. And Savannah finally admitted to herself what she had always felt. She loved Mason. So she married him, and she was pregnant.